Well, hello. So today's the first day of spring, and I thought I'd get into germinating or sprouting your larger seeds, more specifically, your rootstock seeds for watermelon, grafting. So we have gourds. This is a bushel gourd. This is a long gourd. This is a rampart gourd. So I think it was a commercial rootstock. A lot of the giant growers use them. And then I also have some pumpkin seeds, or different varieties of pumpkin and gourd, or squash more specifically. This is Flexifort. This was a commercial rootstock. I have, just for practice, maybe I might actually try it in the garden. They say that that Dill's Atlantic giant pumpkins, your stumps will blow out right around day 60. But I also have Big Macs. They're giant pumpkins, same genus. This is Big Moon. It's another Maxi from the same genus as Dill's. Different species. So like the Big Max gets about 100 pounds, I think they say. And Big Moon gets about 200 pounds. That's a pumpkin growing on its own vine, on its own roots. But I also have Queensland Blue squash. This is C Maxi. So we'll talk about how you sprout these larger seeds. I guess for the pumpkins, you don't really have to do this, pumpkin and squash, but I like to go around the edges of them. This is the Queensland Blue. I like to just go around the edge with a fingernail filer. And you're not trying to get inside, you don't want to get inside the seed. You just want to get around the edge a little bit, so that moisture can get inside the seed and wake up the plant, So that's what it looks like. You just want to get around the edge a little bit. It's probably pretty hard to see. I can't really, I'm just one guy here. But you just want to create a way for the water to get inside. Now, you don't have to do this with the squash, but I think it helps them take off a little bit faster. And what I do is I just label a little Dixie cup. This one is Queensland Blue squash. I just drop it in there. Boop. It's got water inside it. And I'll let it soak in there for a good 4 or 5 hours, sometimes overnight. If I'm doing this late at night, I'll just drop it in there and go to bed, But that's not even, that, like I said, that's easy enough. But when you get into these gourds, that's a weird looking seed right there. And sometimes you're not really sure what to do, A lot of times you have troubles sprouting these. So some tools that you need that's going to help you with that is your fingernail filer and one of these nippers. I don't know if you own one. If not, you can probably check your wife's makeup box or something. That's where I got these. So I'm just kidding. She gave them to me, so I figured they'd be good for the garden. But so when you look at one of these gourd seeds, right? You have a pointed end, and then you have a side with 2 ears on it, or horns they call them. Ears, horns, it's the same thing. What you do is you take your nippers, right? And you're just gonna nip that little horn off on each side. hope that wasn't too aggressive. I think it should be okay. Now you take your fingernail filer and you're just gonna go around the sides, right around the edge. Again, you're not trying to go all the way in. You just wanna make it easier for the water to get inside. Now with these larger gourds, like a bushel gourd, I've also seen guys file right across the sides, right on the top and bottom, just to remove that first casing, you know, the skin of the actual seed. But you're not trying to get inside it. You just want it to be able to soak up the water. That's it. You know, you want it to get moist inside. So that's a bushel gourd. Long gourd. Some guys will use long gourds. They look pretty similar. You have two horns there and a bit of a pointed side. I think this one's got a couple little horns on that side too. And I haven't had really good luck sprouting these, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. Might just be the seed stock that I got it from too. Again, we're not trying to damage the seed, we just knocking those horns down. We're gonna get around the sides.
Badges.
So we have a nice smooth seed. And that's a long gourd. This is a rampart gourd. Like I said, this was a commercial rootstock. Now I was told that these germinate easier. That you could probably just drop it in some water and it'll grow. I don't know how true that is, but I'm gonna treat it the same. I'm gonna cut off the little horns with the nippers. I'm going to give this a light sanding.
Yeah.
Nice smooth seed. What I do is I got all these Dixie cups and I label them, you know, RG, that's rampart gourd. LG, that's long gourd. BG, that's bushel gourd, you know. Now, what I'm gonna do with all these seeds here is I'm just gonna let them soak for a good 4 or 5 hours. And then I'm gonna plant them in some, what I do is I mix soil with, I mix potting mix with seed starting mix, you know. Now some guys will just use seed mix or seed starting mix, and some guys will just use potting mix. I prefer to mix them up that's just the way I've always done it, and I don't know why, but that's how I do it. Now some guys like for the large seeds, they like to wrap them up in paper towel and in a moist paper towel, and then set it aside, you know, in a warm area and wait for it to sprout before they plant it. That's okay too. You can do that. I do that with my smaller seeds. My larger seeds, I like to put them right in the soil. But I can show you some of the watermelon seeds I have. I don't know if how long any of you guys have been watching, but the first year I ever grew watermelon, I grew a 22-pound watermelon. I still have those seeds. I think that was 2023. I'm pretty sure 22 pounds, unofficial. I weighed it myself at home. Here's my watermelon seeds from my 81 pounder that I weighed in Michigan. It was a 301.5 McCaslin times open. I did have a jumbo Watson in the patch. So, of course, these are jumbo Watsons from Lloyd Bright's website. I have some jumbo black diamonds from Lloyd Bright's website. And these are the seeds out of my 24-pound jumbo Watson I grew last year. It took off for a couple of days and then just quit on me. I don't know if I blew a stump or what I did, but it quit on me. So, but you know, I have a lot of other seeds here too, you know, for watermelon seeds. I think these are the ones I got from the Giant Watermelon Growers Club this year. So this is a 306.5 McCaslin that he grew in 2025, and that means you know, that means he grew a 306.5 pound watermelon, and he grew it on the seed from a 174-pound watermelon. You know, there's some good guys over there at the Giant Watermelon Growers Club. This is a 290.5 pound Terry that he grew in 2016. So now I keep all my seeds in the fridge, in the crisper drawer, and I've had pretty good luck that way. I don't freeze them, but I don't just let them sit in a box under the stairway either, you know. So 274-pound Rogers that he grew in 2024. Looks like he grew that on a 308 Kent. That was the female. And the male that pollinated it was the same thing. It was self-pollinated. There's a 248 Bratcher from 2025. So, you know, some big boys, man, some big melons. But yeah, everybody sprouts their seeds differently. That's how I do it. I give them a little sanding, I give them a good soak, and then I plant them in soil under my grow lights. And when they come up, you know, they're ready to go. Now, so let's say today's the day that I start my rootstock seeds. Typically what I've done in the past is I've waited 6 days before I start watermelon seeds. Now I think that this last time that I grafted watermelon, they were a little big, so the rootstock were a little big for the scion, and so instead of waiting 6 days, I think this time around for practice I might wait 4 days before I start the watermelon seeds. So today is Friday. I'm starting my rootstock seeds. So you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday I'll start the watermelon seeds, whether these have sprouted yet or not. And then by the time everything sprouts, they should be all about the right size, you know. You'll have like a true leaf or two on your rootstock, you know, and you'll get in there and you'll cut it. And I'm gonna do a video on that when it's time, a few days or so. You know, gonna cut the head off, stick your tool in there, give it, you're gonna spin it real nice and easy as you go in. And then you're gonna make your cuts on your scion, your watermelon scion, and you're gonna plug it in there, and that's it. It's really that easy. Now there is a method for the healing chamber on how to heal them, and we'll get into all of that. So I'm gonna start your rootstock seeds, wait 4, 5, 6 days, and then you're gonna start your watermelon seeds, and then once they sprout, and you got your first two leaves, that's the cotyledons, and then the next leaf is your first true leaf, and when that's about the size of a grain of rice, that's the perfect size for doing your whole insertion grafting. And I'm going to get into all of that. I just, a couple of you have been wanting to see a video of how to graft, and I figured that video might not be a very good video if you don't even know how to start the rootstock seeds. So now you know. And stay tuned. In a few more days, I'm going to start the watermelon seeds. And a few days after that, we're gonna do some grafting. Again, this is just a practice run, so I can show you my other grafts. They don't look great. I got 1 or 2 that look like, yeah, I would put those in the garden. Okay, but that's why you always graft more than what you think you're gonna need. If you want to grow 6 watermelon, you might want to graft 12. Because it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Some guys have gotten pretty good at it. I like to think I have, but I just started doing it again this year, so it's going to take a little bit. But also some of the reasons, like why we graft. If you have diseases in your soil like fusarium wilt and I forgot the other one, verticulum or something like that. Grafting can help with that. So a lot of the commercial rootstocks are resistant to it, and a lot of the gourds are resistant to it, and a few different squash and commercial squash are resistant to those things. So, but all right, you want to see my peppers? How my peppers are doing? Check this out. So here I have an arrow garden, and I just bought what I did is I got the seed starting tray for it, and I bought a bunch of plugs. So over here is my habaneros, they're just starting. And over here is some of my bell peppers that are just starting out. Got Ajvarski for sweet peppers, and yellow elephant peppers, and then a couple different habanero peppers. I'm not doing anything too spicy this year, but yeah, and then the 9 spots in the middle, those are all going to be purple eggplant, and they just sprouted this morning, so I dropped the seeds in there in their little spots. So, all right. Well, anyways, happy spring, everybody. Man, we get hit with the snow the other day, so hopefully it all melts and we get out in the garden soon. But all right, happy spring. Y'all have a good day. Good to see you.